We've just discovered so much more with the Starfield combat, and in this video we're going to break down and go through everything you need to know about the combat coming into the open RPG Starfield. Now make sure to leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already, but let's dive right into it. Now we have known throughout the whole years of Bethesda games that the gameplay of combat has been very fun and enjoyable for majority of the fans. Yes, there is a lot of bugs and glitches that do happen, but the director of Bethesda Game Studios, Todd Howard, has said that they have tweaked on all these bugs and glitches that have happened in these games, and they're making it the best combat that has ever been as a Bethesda release. Now we're going to move right into the gun combat. Now, most players are going to find themselves in a gunfight at some point. Whether you prefer pistols, rifles, lasers, or something much bigger, you'll have the option of firing from the hip or aiming down the sights. A few Starfield skills improve not just the weapon you're using, but also how you use them, with the targeting skill requiring you to kill enemies without aiming. As a result, Starfield's gun gameplay could be best described as a run and gun approach. You'll no doubt find yourself dodging in and out of cover while reloading, but as Starfield doesn't have a strict cover-based mechanic, this is done through positioning your character behind an obstacle or crouching behind something. If you do happen to find yourself within melee range of an enemy, you can also perform a gun bash, in which you smack them with your butt of your gun. This doesn't do a lot of damage, but it should buy you enough time to empty your whole clip into them. This is just epic to hear that this gun combat is going to be much better than Fallout 4 or Fallout 3. Now I know a lot of people that might be a big take to have, because a lot of people have loved Fallout 4, a lot of people have loved Fallout 3, and that's a big take to take because Starfield's not out. But it seems like they've really tweaked on the gun combat and made it a lot more efficient. Now we don't actually know if Todd Howard is telling the truth, because yes, in his previous years of different games, he has definitely made lies about certain games, but I believe him and I still trust him a lot because Bethesda is my favorite gaming industry, so I'm really hoping that the combat in this game is going to be exceptionally well. Now we're going to move on to the Starfield melee combat. Now the dueling skill describes the art of melee combat as a lost art, which you can rivalize with a number of weapons like the combat knife or the rescue axe. The hack and slash elements of previous Bethesda titles have always been somewhat lackluster from an animation and a mechanical standpoint. In Skyrim, enemies barely reacted to being slashed with the sword, and first-person melee combat didn't feel like you were swinging a real weapon most of the time. However, from what we've seen from the Starfield Direct and previous showcases, Bethesda have massively improved the animation of both melee weapons and unarmed combat, with enemies reacting more noticeably to blows, sometimes dropping their weapons and even being staggered. Even if you're a run and gun player, it's best to keep a melee weapon on hand should you run out of ammo or find yourself in a tight space. Starfield's boost pack combat. One of the biggest improvements to Starfield's combat is the ability to jump around with the boost pack, Starfield's take on the jetpack. The boost pack enables you to gain the higher ground, dodge bullets, or close the gap quickly, making it a versatile tool suitable for all playstyles. This is going to be so much fun, and there is a skill trait that you can actually get to improve this as your boost pack, and actually do some boost pack melee jumps where you can actually boost pack into the enemies and attack them from then. Now Starfield's zero-G combat, zero gravity environments will dramatically change how you approach combat. If you're using ballistic weapons like the Beowulf or the General, the recoil of the shots will actually put you backwards as you float around. As a result, Bethesda suggested during the June 2023 showcase that you switch to laser weapons like the Equinix, because they don't produce recoil. It's unclear if melee weapon fighters will face similar problems if they strike an opponent in zero-G, so you might want to consider carrying a laser pistol with you at all times. Best to be prepared. This is basically saying that you will obviously need to have a pistol and a melee weapon at all times, because at times like such as Skyrim, yes, you have a bow and arrow or you can have a sword. You do need both, but at times you can use a shield to protect yourself. I'm not too sure if Starfield will be using a shield or anything. Fallout did not have any shields like that. It was more gun based. So I feel like you're going to have to be ready, prepared for your guns. So you're going to have to be using a lot of guns, which is not so much my playstyle. I love a lot more of a melee type playstyle. That's why I love the Elder Scrolls industry, because I think they're more in the medieval times of, you know, bow and arrows. You've got your melee weapons like your swords, your axes. You've got all sorts of things. Whereas with the Starfield, it's going to be very different, but it's going to be good, but maybe not my playstyle. But it's also because it's going to be different with the gun industry that's coming into it. Now, the Starfield ship combat. One of the big selling points of Starfield is the ability to fly and customize your own spaceship. This puts you in a tight spot when traveling through less safe corners of the settled systems as pirates and religious zealots eye up your precious cargo hold. Plus, if you're a criminal, the local factions may also have something to say to you in the eternal languages of bullets, lasers, and missiles. Starfield ship combat is a dogfight style environment in which your ship attempts to outmaneuver your enemy's weapons while lining up your own. The Starfield Direct Showcase demonstrated a considerable number of subsystems the player will need to manage during the space combat. Managing ship power distribution, you can divert power to your shields for more defense or redirect that power to the grav drive to make a quick escape. Targeting specific ship components. Once you've breached your enemy's shield, you have the option to target their engines, weapons, cockpit, and all other specific ship modules. This allows you to selectively disable troublesome systems, potentially lining you up for a boarding action. Boarding enemy vessels. If you can disable the enemy's vessel, you can dock with their ship and take the fight to them on foot. If successful, you can take their ship and add it to your fleet, or loot it for everything on board. Just be careful if you've damaged the gravity systems, as you could find yourself in a zero-G combat very quickly. Your ship will come equipped with either ballistic weapons or missiles or laser armaments, which have all different advantages and disadvantages depending on what skills you take and how well you customize your ship. Now, this is going to do for the video. It is a bit of a shorter one in diving into the combat, but I wanted to briefly go over the combat with you guys so you guys can have a brief understanding of what's to come for this Starfield. I really appreciate the journey so far of Starfield so far. Cannot wait for the game to come out. Yes, there won't be many videos for the next few days. I'm going to be away, but I'm going to be back a few days before the release, so I really appreciate to see you guys there soon. But as always, guys, I will see you guys through the journey to the stars. Peace.